enjoying yourself out there on this Friday, 12/11/2020. We're almost there, guys. It's almost over, right? Hey, we got a vaccine. Woohoo! So happy, right? Hopefully we can start moving forward and getting past this COVID-19 era. It's been tough out there. Our special guest today is going to be Mr. Rami Ibrahim. I'm probably saying that name wrong. He will correct me on that when he comes on, but he is a multiple-time world champion, one of the top trainers in the country for Muay Thai and kickboxing. And I also see that he's done a little MMA too. I'll talk about that just a little bit as well. We always want to thank our sponsors, wearwig.club at wearwig.club for great deals on wigs there, and also Eastern Offset Printing. They're out of Atlantic Beach, North Carolina. Give them a call for all of your printing needs. Be sure to like us also at AK Promotions and Facebook as well. We're also on Instagram with our PKB_kickboxing. As you know right now, we're also streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. So you definitely want to check us out. If you don't have Facebook, you can tell your friends, hey, check them out. How you doing? Daniel Hodges there. How are you today? Thanks for being on and everything. We have such a fun show. I'm just really excited about speaking to Mr. Rami. But I want to talk a little bit about the IKF Georgia Classic that's coming up on January 2nd and 3rd in Columbus, Georgia, at the Columbus, Georgia Convention Center. Men, women, and juniors are fighting full contact action, guys, knockout action in a boxing ring. Registration is going on right now at akpromotions.org. There's only one thing left for you to do, guys, is get on board, be a part of this event. We'll talk a little bit about that and some of the other events and everything that Mr. Rami has been involved with and everything. So without any further ado, guys, we want to bring up none other than the one and the only Rami Ibrahim. Let me find him there, see where he went. There he is. Give it up for the one and the only Rami Ibrahim. How you doing, brother?
What's up, brother? How you doing? Peace and
blessings.
That's
good to see you. Thanks so much for being on today. I certainly do appreciate it. I was taking a moment there to look at, and I'm going to do this before we get started. Just want to give people a little quick idea to the left of their screen there, get a quick idea of how mean you were in the ring there. I'm just kind of jump it up. See a little bit about Rami there as we going on. And that must have been Sam Shaw. Great kick there, working on great technique. Whoa, ooh, big overhand right. Oh, nice body shot. Oh, big overhand right, and he goes down. Rami, you a tough dude. Oh my goodness, look at this. This right here looks like a WCL thing. Was that the WCL? Nice knees there, working that clinch. Oh, nice knee. Oh, he goes up to the head to the knee. Oh my gosh, anyway, you guys can see this guy was rugged. He was vicious. He does his thing, and that's why he has so many fighters. He's one of the top trainers in the country right now, guys. I tell you, I'm so glad to have him on today. Rami, how are you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, thanks to God, man.
Good. Again, man, so true about that, no doubt. I want to kind of catch people up a little bit about us, right? I want to catch them up. You know, we haven't known each other that long, right? And we just recently met maybe a year or so ago when we had this U.S. title opportunity for some juniors. Right? I like to put everything out there, right? We're going to talk because this is going to be good. And we had, this fight where the two guys fought. He fought Angel Carranza, and, the fight didn't quite go your fighter's way. You got a little upset about it. You know, they had some choice words or whatever. I don't know if they were choice words because I don't know if you do that, but you certainly were not happy with it and everything. And ticked me off. You got ticked off, right? And so we kind of said, whatever. We'll let it be where it's going to be. We started up back for the fall classic here, and we wanted some fighters to be in there. And so you and I had a conversation, a man-to-man conversation over the phone, and you expressed to me your feelings and your emotions about that. Maybe we're not all intact, if you will, and I explained to you that, these are my expectations. This is what I want to do, and I want to try to treat everybody as fair as I possibly can. And basically, we kind of started over, clean the slate and decided that we're going to, move forward. And you guys had guys in the Fall Classic in Myrtle Beach, right at the Landmark Hotel. Let's start out with that. Tell me a little bit about what you thought in this idea about our relationship and where we are right now. Right, that's why I thought I might better get you on early before you get mad with me again. So tell me a little bit about how you saw that and where we are today, Rami.
So, like everybody heard, we had a little confrontation because I just didn't feel, things didn't go the way they should have, and then we had, disagreement, and then time went by. As time went by, time heals everything, and. Yeah. And we had when your second event came that we were part of a few months ago. I spoke to you over the phone, and we gave ourselves a new chapter. And I brought 7 fighters. And if I truly did not care about the sport, and if I truly did not want to support Johnny Davis, I would not have brought 7 fighters.
Right. And in fact,
he had to stop.
You called me and said, "Hey, I have some more." And I said, "No, we already have too many fighters."
I did. That is true.
And you were a little shocked about that.
I did, everyone. So I was actually wanted to give him more fighters, and he said, "No, I just like to keep it safe just in case people fall out." And I said, "I understood." So I hope that is a sign of my courtesy to everybody, from Johnny Davis to the event and so forth. Right. So about that event, honestly speaking, so I've been around the world and I've been to the biggest of tournaments and biggest of shows. And this past event that I went to for the IKEA for Johnny Davis, it was an excellent show. It was ran great from A to Z. Look, there's no show that doesn't have problems.
Right. Exactly.
There was some.
We certainly had some.
we had some hiccups before the show started.
Yes.
There's no show that doesn't have here little things go off the way here and there. Right. You will never have a show. I don't think you will ever have a show that there's not gonna be some problems. But overall, it was a great run show. I think I believe the decisions were every single decision that I saw was good, and the way that the fighters were ready. I think that was the best thing that I liked about the show, is the fighters were ready before they even got to the ring. So there was no delays. There was no with that one situation with the doctor, but that was that is one of the things. But everything was like boom, 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 boom. It's like nothing stopped.
Right. When you have that many fights, really, that's the only way you can do it. I mean, you got to have it back to back. I want to ask you a little bit about how you've been surviving this COVID era. It's been really tough on a lot of gyms and everything. And I know a lot of people have a lot of opinions about the COVID and the gyms. What are your thoughts on what this is, what has been for your gym and for the whole industry, for that matter?
It's some crazy times, man. But I always tell my fighters, I always tell everybody that I ever have a real talk to, and that is, life is the real fight.
Yes, it is.
Life is the real fight. Anybody can fight in the ring, and I mean anybody.
Right.
Not anybody's gonna win, but
that don't mean you have to be good. Hey, my wife always tells me everybody can sing. It's just some people can't sing that well.
Exactly, and that's the same thing in life. Everybody is a fighter. Everybody is a fighter, because every day that you wake up, you gotta fight new punches coming at you.
Yes.
And you gotta roll with the punches. And right now, everyone living today, this is our toughest fight. This is our toughest fight. How I'm getting through this. I'm trying to remind myself. So I want to bring a little bit of my religion and what my faith.
Yeah, we're gonna talk a little bit about that too.
And my faith tells me, whenever you are feeling down, to remember 3 people: the sick, the poor, and the orphan. I am not sick, thanks to God. I have good health.
Right.
I am not poor, thanks to God. I can eat. I have a piece of bread and a cup of water. I'm good.
Right.
And then, thanks to God, I have my parents in my life.
Nice.
When we are feeling down, we gotta look at the people that are not doing so good, and that's what I'm doing right now to get through this. You know, I I got a gym, I got fighters, and I'm being forced to shut down. So I try to train them personally off on the side. You know, and I'm trying to make it, man. You know,
Right.
I'm trying.
Like it's been really tough out there. You talk about your parents and everything. Sound like you're really close with your parents. I say that people like, why would you say that? Everybody's close with their parents. No, they're not. No, they're not. And tell me about the respect level that you have for your parents, and how was it with you getting into this sport? I'm assuming as a very young kid, were they supportive of that?
I don't know if you know this, but thanks. I don't know if you know this, but my so when I was 4 years old, I was kidnapped,
Oh,
and I'm here because of my mom and my dad. I was supposed to be sold on the black market, and they
wow.
got me right as the sale was going on, and they they didn't give up on me. You know what I mean? I was 4 years old, and they didn't give up on me. They time after time, like my family was, we lived in Kuwait. That's where I was born.
Mm-hmm.
In Kuwait, you're either really rich or really poor.
Right. No middle ground.
So my father was the manager of the Kuwaiti airport. So our life, we were wealthy. So we came to America a week before the Gulf War, and days after we arrived, the Gulf War started, and we lost everything,
Wow.
literally everything. And we went from my father dealing with the king and the prince, to dealing in the ghetto and having to start all over. And then my father, he showed me what it means to not give up. He showed me how to fight
Mm.
in life, you know. And he had 6 boys, you know, so he had to be strong. So what he did for me and my brothers and my mom, it, I owe him everything. No matter
Wow.
how much I give him, I'm gonna be behind. And
What is he in this country now, or is he still
he's
over?
here. He's here.
He's here. He's here. So when he sees this, and I'm sure he will, he might be watching right now. You've kind of said it already, but you owe him. You feel that you owe him everything.
I do.
How has it taught you? What kind of father has it taught you to be?
Um, I wish I could be like him. Uh, he is there. I remember one of the important lessons that he gave me many lessons. He actually gave me lessons about fighting, and he never fought or was a part of martial arts or anything. But one of the important lessons that he gave to me before I became a martial artist and a fighter is, I remember going. I hope kids will listen to this. I remember he took me to a. We were going to buy sneakers for one of my older brothers, and I told him, Dad, I want these shoes,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I was 6 or 7. He told me, sure, I will buy them for you if you need them. Do you need them? I looked at him,
Yeah.
looked up. I said, he gave me the choice.
Right.
I looked at him. I said, you know what, Dad? No, I don't need them.
Wow. Wow.
And that is a lesson that I took, and I hope to pass to my daughter and my children, hopefully in the future.
So you got started in the martial arts relatively early. How old were you when you actually got started?
8 years old. No, 10 years old. 10 years old.
10. And was there a specific reason for how martial arts kind of attracted you? Was there something, were you getting bullied, or what was the situation of why you started martial arts?
So, like many stories that you hear of why people started, I used to get into fights a lot. So the reason why, when I came, like I said, we came here uh, in 1990 after the Gulf War, right before the Gulf War, and we lived in the ghetto, losing everything. So I was constantly getting into fights.
Mm.
I was the odd kid in the block that didn't, speak English, and so I made fun of, and people wanted to fight with, and I used to get in fights left and right. So I got 5 older brothers. I'm the youngest of 6. So
Mm.
my oldest brother, he said, we got to do something with this guy. We got to put him in the gym, and we got to keep him off the streets, because the streets that we lived in were kind of bad. So they put me in a martial arts school.
Mm.
And my brother, my oldest brother, he told me, we're going to put you in this martial arts school, and you got 6 months. 6 months. If anybody, after those 6 months, if anybody puts their hand on you and you don't break it, I'm going to break your hand.
Oh, yes. So you had some strong brothers there to also kind of push you forward. Probably has a lot to do with the champion that you ultimately became, right?
Actually, they all did martial arts, and he's done like Shotokan for like 25 plus years already. Ooh. So yeah, they were really tough on me.
So now you were here in this country.
Now, yeah, this was in the States, in Philadelphia.
That was in Philadelphia, okay. And so we kind of understand in that Philadelphia, the martial arts climate was kind of big, right? I mean, there was a lot going on in regards to martial arts.
And boxing is like, this Philadelphia is one of the biggest boxing cities in
the
world.
Of course. There's no doubt about that. So you got into martial arts. And you started to just compete in like karate tournaments and stuff like that, like most of us did.
Yes, that's what I started with.
Right. So you started, I'm assuming you were winning the karate tournaments.
So this is what made me start Muay Thai.
Right.
I got disqualified.
Right. I knew that was coming. You were hitting a little bit too hard for the point karate.
Yes. And my master instructor at the time, his name is Gregory Purifoy. Sabinum Purifoy.
Okay.
So, he had just brought a Thai trainer from Thailand. His name is Vot. And he brought Muay Thai here to the East Coast.
Ah.
1990. And he told me, hey, Rami, you're doing good in karate, freestyle karate, but you seem to be more towards the full contact. We have this new sport called Muay Thai, kickboxing. Would you like to try it? I think it would be better for you. I was only 10 years old.
Right.
So I did it. And
so I mean, I want to kind of dig a little bit though. Does that mean that with me, you know, there's an excitement, there's a high about punching and kicking somebody in the face, right? There's a little high. So when you were young, did you kind of feel that energy when you would punch and kick somebody, and or either winning? What was the drug in it for you at a very young age?
Yes, it was an outlet for me, man. So I had 5 older brothers, and they were not around because they were busy trying to build our lives back up.
Right.
The gym was my friend. The gym was my iPhone. The gym was my TV. You know, I didn't have any of that stuff. And like I said, I was the odd kid, so I didn't really have much friends in the first place. So it was my outlet, and that's why I let my frustration out. And then when I had my first fight in the ring, I lost. I actually lost, but it didn't make me back down and be down on myself. It actually made me hungrier. Like you said, it gave me a high, and I learned that fighting that gave me a high that no drugs in the world can give you.
Exactly. So you lost a fight.
I lost 3 fights.
You lost your first 3 fights. So what do you think that was? Will you think you maybe overmatched? You didn't completely understand it? Were you not training hard enough? What do you think?
The people that I was fighting, my first fight, my opponent had 10 fights.
Right.
You know what I mean? Back then, I'm sure you know, Johnny, we didn't have the sanctioning and people following the rules like we do now.
Exactly.
You know, back then I fought, like people, like none of the fighters I fought in my first 3 fights had less than 10 or 15 fights.
Wow, yeah. See, yeah. But like I said, we get revenge later on, though. We'll talk about that. I want to skip ahead. You were having some fights. You were, obviously you lost some, you learned some lessons, you dug back down, you started training harder, probably better matches and everything. You won a lot of titles to date. But I want you to go back with me for a moment for your very first title. The very first one. Tell me about that fight And tell me about that feeling.
Man, I was 14 years old, 13 or 14 years old. I was a freshman in high school. And people, what I'm about to say is what happened to me that day, any fighter today would probably have left their trainer. But I had loyalty, like we had loyalty growing up in the sport for our trainer. And we put up a lot with our trainer because that's what martial arts taught us. And why I'm saying this is because my first title fight, it was an upper Rami boxing and kickboxing. I still remember it. And I had maybe 50 fights at that event. And my trainer didn't show up until I was walking out to the ring, until my name was being called out to the ring.
Right.
And I was so scared and so mad and so angry. Why am I left alone? I had nobody there. Nobody from my gym. Nobody.
Wow.
Me, my mom, and my dad, and one of my brothers.
Right.
And they knew nothing about what to do, so I had to get myself ready. I wrapped myself.
Wow.
I wrapped myself. I warmed up myself. People felt bad for me. And actually, I remember people were laughing at me because I was the independent fighter.
Right.
But I wasn't an independent fighter. Little did they know. I had a trainer, but just my trainer did not show up.
Right.
And then as I'm walking out, I walked out to the ring. My trainer's coming, and I saw him. He's like, his first words to me, "Are you ready?" I looked at him in anger.
Right.
I'm like, I'm a little kid, and you're just gonna ignore the fact that you did not come.
Right.
I came in by myself. I didn't even say anything to him. I just looked at him and shook my head, walked into the ring. 14 seconds into the fight was over.
Wow. Because you were mad.
There was no game plan. I just let it all out on that poor kid.
So you won, and then so what was that feeling like after? And I mean, I want the digging a little deep about the confidence that it probably gave you, and maybe about that whole idea about maybe being a little angry but controlled anger in the ring, if you will. Tell me a little bit more about that emotion.
So like I said, I had already, like, my first 3 fights. Maybe they had 50 fights or more. Those people that I fought.
Right.
So I had been with people that have experience, and the kid that was fighting for the title was actually a kid my experience. So that was like really good for me.
Right.
I had my anger coming into that fight, but I understood that this was a fight, and I had maybe like 30 fights coming to that fight.
By the way, I just want to say this really quick. You got Leonardo Rosa. He's from Puerto Rico. He's asking you that perhaps you should consider going to another country to teach as well. So I guess you do seminars, correct?
Yes, I do. So if they would like to invite me, I'll be happy to come to Puerto Rico.
Right. Well, he does seminars, guys. There, you heard it right there. So let me ask you a question though. Is in your training of fighters today, when you think about them out there, fighting and them winning, why is it important for you to try to teach them about that first experience that you had, that you understood about the winning? In other words, by you having that experience and what it felt like to win, do you hold that dear to you so that you can also understand what they must be feeling like to win a fight like that, and why it's important for you to be there for them?
It's very important. Like 99% of the times my students fight, 99% of the time, before the decision is made, you will see me tell my fighter something right before the decision is made, when the referee has them. And what I'm saying to them 99% of the time is, we know how to win and we know how to lose. The reason why is because if you win, tomorrow the sun goes up. Life goes on. If you lose, tomorrow the sun goes up. Life goes on. Right. You have to remember that, And I've been knocked out, and I've knocked many out.
Right.
And why I'm saying this is because if you knock a person out, I'm really big on this. If one of my fighters ever knocks somebody out, I don't let them celebrate.
Right.
I don't let them celebrate. Here, like maybe once in a blue moon, if the fight was like so emotional,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
you know.
But you calm them down.
Yeah, but like my thing is that person has a mother, that person has a father. You know what I mean? They are hurting for them, so we gotta calm it down.
Yeah.
You know? And this
Shout
is
respect.
martial arts. And this is martial arts, man. We're not fighting in the street in a bar. You know,
Right.
let's not do this in class and then do something else. You know what I mean?
Right, right. Well, that's very true. So let's fast forward a little bit. You had all these fights. Can you remember out of all the fights you've had, your actual toughest fight? But more important, not just your toughest fight, but what did you learn from that fight?
Man, I do remember my toughest fight. It was in 1998, 98 or 99.
Mm.
It was in Delaware. I fought so a few months before that I had fought an owner of 5 points and I should have won, man, but I you know the decision didn't go my way.
We all have those, right?
You know? And the good thing is I retired my opponent.
Oh.
And I was only 16 years old, and I think he was like 30 something years old.
Wow, wow.
You know? So I guess to get revenge on me, his trainer brought his nephew from Holland, who was a professional European champion.
Wow.
Professional. I was an amateur and I was a kid.
Right.
You know? So he brought this grown man who was a professional and a champion to come get revenge in a 5-round, 3-minute fight. I'm an amateur fighting 5 rounds, 3 minutes.
I was getting ready to say that's a pro fight.
That was a pro fight.
Right.
Exactly. So I fought the fight. Man, 1 minute into round 1, I knew that guy was not an amateur.
Right.
1 minute, I had already got like 60, 70 fights maybe. So I know that guy I know this guy is on another level.
Right, right.
And what I learned is that the mind can make this do anything. The guy was beating me left and right.
Right.
For 5 rounds, he beat me, but I did not let him stop me.
Ah.
And I lost every round. But I learned that the mind can make you do crazy things. And this is one of the strongest weapons that we have.
Right.
Without this, this doesn't work.
Right.
That's what I learned.
Wow, that's a really, really big lesson. I want to change gears just for a second about you as a trainer, because today, I mean, you had great fights as a fighter. You won all of these titles and everything. You learned some valuable lessons. As a trainer, though, you know, it is sometimes pretty tough. What is the toughest thing about training fighters to you?
The toughest thing about training fighters is so I was a school teacher. And what I took from that is that everybody learns in different ways.
Right. Very good.
And, you know, like in school, some of my kids have to learn by me writing on a blackboard. One of my other kids will have to learn by me putting shows on TV, on a video. One of my students has to learn by me verbally telling him the instructions. One has to read. So everybody learns in different ways. And that I took to training as a coach. And that was one of the hardest things, is that I had to learn how to, you know, some fighters, you have to bark at them.
Yes.
And some, you have to pat them on the back.
Yes.
You know, and I'm a very emotional guy, you know, and I coach from my heart, you know.
Right.
I'm sure you saw that.
Right.
So I had to learn how to, you know, differentiate from student to student.
Well, speaking of that, while we're in that lane, you know, differentiating between student and student, how hard is it to try to have a fighter to throw yourself into training a fighter, right? You know the fighter has some talent, and you really want them to do well, and then they quit. How does that make you feel? How many times has that happened?
Listen to me. I've actually become better at making them quit before they do that to me.
Ah.
I've gotten better at that because I've felt it and experienced it early on in my coaching career while I was still fighting. And when I was coaching while I was a still fighter, I was a mean coach. I'm
Yes.
still mean now, but the old Rami is way crazier.
Right.
Because I was coaching while I was being a fighter. So the fighter in me was part of it. So now, what I do now is I put them through hell. Like I know, like every coach trains their fighter hard, right?
Right.
But I put them through hell and back. So I have this thing where like we do like a fight in the gym. So I have a ring here, and if a person tells me, "Hey, coach, I want to fight," I tell him, "Okay, well, I'm gonna test you out," and I send my big dogs at him or her, and I see how they react.
Right.
You know, and now what I do is I put them through and be like, they come back to me on Sunday night, texting me, "Excuse me, sir, I don't want to fight."
So you got to learn how to weed them out a little bit.
So, but the thing is, I did them good. Why did I do them good? For everyone listening, is I did one of two things. Either I made them see that this is for them, and so they train harder, or I made them see that this is not for them, so I protected them. And they now know they can just do Muay Thai or kickboxing just to work out for health. They don't have to put their life on the line. So I saved their time and their health.
Right. So you mentioned about earlier that you were very passionate, right? and you are. And so you learn, everybody celebrates a win, right? But have you learned better how to take that loss? And what do you do to do the self-talk to yourself if your guy loses? And do you take it personal when a person loses if you're training them?
Yes. 100%. You cannot, I can't lie to you. Plus, you already seen me.
I know. That's why I'm asking.
So, any fighter fight for me, they become part of my family. Meaning, I will do anything for them. Literally.
Right.
For them. I've had fights where I feel like we lost, and I zip it. I've had fights where I feel like we lost a close fight, but I think we should have won. I still zip it. I've had fights where I felt like we should have won that 100%. Some of them I zip it, but
sometimes you don't.
I don't.
Because you know why? Because you're not perfect, and neither am I.
Yes, and I've had fights where like my students had to calm me down. Like I couldn't hold my emotion. Like it was that crazy, you know. Like the situation that I had you show was nothing.
Well, if it's not any worse, maybe we wouldn't be talking.
I've had some crazier moments. Trust me, Johnny.
I do. Hey, I trust you. Right. But when you look at it as you get older and you become more wise and you think about your religion and those things that you practice, right? Is that something you're working on to try to get better?
Yes, definitely, man. Definitely. Especially now that I became a father, I have a daughter.
Right.
I understand that my actions, I can't act like 20-year-old Rami. You know, I have somebody that looking up.
Exactly.
When I became a teacher, I started to get that picture that I got students looking up to me. So I calmed down. Now that I got a daughter, I've calmed down even more. You know?
Yes.
And now I think about what my actions are, not for myself, but for them.
Right.
So I understand now it's a bigger picture, and that's what I'm seeing as a teacher and a father.
Right. Well, Rami, you know, I have this conversation with several trainers, you know, about, you know, just, you know, sometimes it is what it is. It doesn't always go in your direction and everything. Let me ask you a question. You know, fighters learn more from losing than they do winning. I know that was my situation, right? Do you think that could be the same case for trainers?
100%. 100%. You know, a good trainer will take a loss just like a good fighter and come back and learn from it. And they will understand they did something wrong.
Right.
A bad trainer, just like a bad fighter, they will take a loss and make excuses and play the victim card.
Right.
Play the victim card.
Right.
You know, it's
That's
one thing.
called a sore loser.
Yeah,
You
it's
never
one
go.
thing. It's one thing to be, okay, get emotional, become like, and make excuses. Like, okay, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt if you did it the night of the fight, and then the next day you admitted you're wrong.
Right.
But if you never admitted you're wrong, how can you become better? You're playing the victim card.
Right. Even if a fight is close, you can, just somehow accept the decision that maybe you didn't get the nod that time. But if you do the pros and cons about all the times you've gotten the nod, right, perhaps you would not have that. Now, I say that to say this, Rami. I got to bring into this because I noticed yesterday that, Carranza's dad still has some issues, with, the way they felt like they were treated. If being the Rami you are today, right, being the Rami that's more wise, right, and you realize that, it is what it is, whatever that was done, is there anything you would like to say to Mr. Angel? Because they're really nice people.
He did an amazing job. Hats off to him. I congratulated the kid in the ring, and I will congratulate him again now and his father. They did an amazing job. They did nothing wrong.
Right.
They did their job, and they deserve that win.
Right. Okay. Awesome. That's awesome. Oh man, that is awesome stuff right there. And that's one of the things I wondered, because I saw he made a comment. Well, you can do this, you can do that, but what about attitude? And I wanted to let him know that the Rami that I talked to was very different than that guy a couple of years ago. Right.
Listen, man, everybody, I'm a human, and I'm sure he is human.
Yes.
And made some things that he should have done when he was feeling some type of way. And I was just feeling some type of way,
Right.
And I was caught in that moment. Sometimes that's why we as human beings should never react when we are heated.
Right.
We should be quiet when we are heated. Sometimes things come out that we don't really mean.
Right. No doubt about it. This sport is something that you put pretty much your life into. And, sometimes, we get what we want out of it. And sometimes we don't. We know there's not a lot of money in the sport, never has been. We're still working on that. What would you say are some of your biggest hopes for the sport of Muay Thai and kickboxing in this country?
Just like your hopes, man. I hope it gets big to the point where it becomes a family, type event,
Right.
And I just want it to be fair, like people are like, I'm pretty sure you agree with me on this. People like watching UFC. They like watching any MMA fight.
Yeah.
Because of the stand-up part.
Yeah, 110%, man. You don't want to get me started on that one.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I just hope one day we can get to the point where we are respected, not just respect by words, but respected financially.
Yeah.
The way that they give it to the MMA fighters and to the boxers.
Right. What do you think it's going to take to get there? Do you think the tournament scene is the right way to go, or should we be having more fight nights?
We need businessmen into this. We need businessmen.
Hello. I would like to think I'm one.
You are. We need businessmen. We need money people.
Yes.
People with millions of dollars to come in and invest.
I'm not that, but we're trying to get it.
Yeah, but but I see the things that you do. I see, because I talk to you and I hear you, so you are making the right decisions.
Thank you.
But we need people with money. That's what we need, because money talks.
Right.
That's where we are lacking. I believe the big promoters have to start looking into people that invest in this sport. We've done everything has been done already. You know what I mean? The only thing that we need now to do stuff that hasn't been done before. Okay, you made the big fights. Okay, but it still didn't do anything. There's a reason why. The closest person, whether anybody want to admit it or not, the closest person to making this happen, obviously has Glory and K1, but even better than them, I feel, was Chuck Norris when he did the WCL. Unfortunately for him, he had people on his side that were using him.
Yeah.
What brought him down. You know?
Right. He certainly had a good idea and his name value. We need a name. We need not only money, we need the name value also.
Well, that's the
Uh,
thing. That's
yeah.
the thing. You know, you have a fighter, you get these promoters, like they bring a fighter that is from all the way this side and all the way this side, and they put them here where nobody knows them.
Exactly.
You know, how do you make money?
Right.
If you make a fight like that, like me and you talk about this all the time. If you make a fight like that, how can you make money? If
Right.
you don't make money, you can't make shows. If you don't make shows, there's no sport.
Right.
You have to make money so we can have fights.
Right. That's why my strategy is I always have a local, what I call anchor person, right? We have a local anchor person, and then we bring in people from afar, because otherwise, how are you going to pay for it, right? It doesn't make any sense. And but those very, very good perspectives and everything about where we take the sport. As we begin to wind down, because I know you have to go here in a little bit, I want to talk a little bit about your faith, right? And the things that have made you who you are today and how important that is, your practice of Islam. Give me an idea about, the perception of people in the practice of Islam and what you do and maybe how they see you, because they're very stereotypical in this country to think a certain way about Muslims or whatever. How do you navigate that in your daily life?
So two things. One, about what people think about Muslims is that they think they are these radical or extremists or people that are they don't live life, or their religion is to stop them from living life.
Right.
Well, to answer that, God, Allah, God.
Yes.
Allah means God for those that
yes.
don't know.
Yes.
God, in Islam, we believe that God tells us to do everything that we want to do, except that which hurts us physically and mentally.
Yeah.
And if you look at it, that's exactly what it is. God allows us to do everything except that which hurts us physically and mentally.
Right.
Things like what? Obviously, the number one thing that people can think of first, even if they don't know too much, is we don't eat pork.
Right. Neither do I, by the way.
Yeah, well, there's a reason why you don't eat pork, right?
There's a big reason, right?
Exactly, probably the same reason why we don't eat pork.
Right.
Until now, it's 2020. Until now, there's scientists that tells us we should not be eating pork.
Right.
Dangerous reasons, and then we don't drink. There's in every religion you got that guy that doesn't follow and he does do.
Oh, of course. I mean, nobody's perfect, right?
So why I'm bringing this up is because that's what Islam is. It tells us to do everything except that which hurts us. Like, we're not supposed to be doing drugs. We're not supposed to be drinking alcohol, because there's many people that die on the streets because of these guys. Right. So anyway, what I try to do, or when they see a guy praying, they get scared, like he's on the floor praying. I'm like, you know what Jesus did? Look at what Matthew, in the book of Matthew, he said Jesus went down to the floor and bowed down and prostrated.
Yeah. Right.
That's what we do, Or
right.
When they see a Muslim woman, she's covered, and they say she's not living her life, she's oppressed. What does a nun do?
Right.
The single image that we have of Mary, the beautiful Mary.
Yes.
She's covered. So what's the difference? We are the same.
Right.
But the people that are controlling the screen that you are looking at, they make you feel that we're not the same.
Right. Because there's good and bad in every practice, religion, or whatever. The bottom line is, it is. But if people exacerbate the bad, and saying, oh, this is the bad, and they show that without showing the millions and millions and millions of good people out there anywhere.
Can I ask you a question? How many have you met a lot of Muslims in your life?
Oh yeah, I have very, very good friends who are Muslim.
How many of them Muslims
were
terrorists?
None. Right, none. Absolutely none.
And you say that you met a lot of Muslims?
Yes, I have very close people to me.
Just like you said, if people would look at that, look at how many good.
Right.
But that's the thing with nowadays, man. People want to look at the screen. And they want to, and the reason why, listen, whether you want to believe in God or not, let's talk about people that believe in God, right? If you believe in
Right.
God, you believe that there's, since we're bringing up religion, if you believe
Sure.
God, you believe that there's devil, there's
Yeah,
Satan,
yeah.
who's set to bring everyone to hell.
Sure.
To let them follow God.
Right.
So, what is the best way to break people apart? Divide them.
Yes.
Divide them. Within the Christian community, you got people divided. Within the Muslim community, you got people divided. Within the Judaism community, you got people divided.
Yes.
You divide them, you make them weaker.
Yes.
When you make them weaker, you make them forget about God.
Right.
When you forget about God.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything crumbles. No, you're absolutely right on that. And I have I have similar beliefs. I mean, people don't really know what I believe. I have similar beliefs. But what I really have is respect for other people's belief, as long as they're not trying to kill me, harm me, or harm others and stuff like that, right? And I think that is really, really important. How much of your faith and the discipline that's required in Islam, because you got to pray, 3-5 times a day, and all that. And I know you're on your way to your mosque really soon here, so I know we're going to have to wind this down. So how much of that, though, that gave you strength and the discipline to be the great fighter that you ultimately were?
So the best way that I could to finish the last thing is the best way that I could tell people about Islam is through my actions, not by telling them, through my actions. So what has Islam showed me, and what is the best way it has helped me in life and in the ring and in martial arts? It's crazy, man. Everything Islam teaches, martial art teaches.
Yes.
Everything that religion teaches, martial arts teaches.
For the most part, yeah.
And that is be honest, be respectful, don't give up, because when we give up, we go to evil thoughts,
Yes.
And these are things that I'm fortunate. The thing that I love in life, martial arts, is the thing that I love about what gave me life, religion, God. And Islam has taught me that we have to be strong, be a fighter, you have to and what do you have to do when you want to win a fight? You have to prepare. You have to train
and prepare. Exactly.
As a Muslim, I understand that if I want to be in heaven, if I want to be closer to God, I have to prepare.
Yes.
God.
Yes.
You want to pass a test, you study for that test. You want to win a fight, you train for that fight. You want to be up in heaven, you have to prepare.
Right.
How can I prepare as a Muslim? By praying 5 times a day, by giving charity, by showing people how to have forgiveness. If I want God to forgive me for my sins, then how can I not forgive another regular human being like me?
Right. Man, 100%, Rami. That's heavy.
If the Creator will forgive me and you, then who are we to not forgive people? This is
absolutely right. That's 100%. Listen, my final question, I have one more. I know you're running out the door, but my final question for you is about Rami's legacy. I want to ask you about, when you're thinking about your wife, you think about your kid, you think about your students, you think about all the people that you've taught, all the people that you've touched, all the people that you've influenced over your life. When the bell is no longer ringing for you, when time is up, when you are no longer here on this planet as we know it today, what we call life, what would a few words that you would like for people who knew you to say about you?
How I measure success is by how many people I bless. And I believe, as a man, woman, if we do stuff for ourselves, sooner or later it will be over. But when we do things and use what God blessed us with to help others, it continues. Life, we will not have life right now if people didn't pass things on.
Right.
For us to be here. And that is what I hope when I'm gone, when I leave this earth, people remember me in any way is to remember that what I've passed, to remember what I passed down. Not what I've done for myself, not these belts.
Right.
You know, not my story, but how many stories I have created for other people.
Wow, that's heavy stuff. Rami Ibrahim, am I saying that correct? How do I say that correct?
Rami, you got Rami and Ibrahim.
Ibrahim, correct. Man, I tell you what, this has been very enlightening, and I think that a lot of people are going to take a look at this and all and be charmed by, you know, some of the encouraging words that you had today. And I just want to thank you for taking a minute to chat with me, and we're looking forward to seeing you in Georgia here in a few weeks. And you know, assalamu alaikum, brother.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you for having me. Peace and blessings. God bless you. To everybody listening.
Thanks so much, brother. Talk to you soon.
Peace.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you saw it for yourself there. We were speaking with Mr. Rami Ibrahim out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Nice guy there, and really has some wide words about, you know, his life and about life in general, and his life as a fighter and a trainer. I think he's a phenomenal young man. I'm going to say young man because I think I'm a little older and everything. And I think he is definitely somebody you can look up to and follow. He has some fantastic fighters out there as well. And also, I just want to really thank him for taking a minute to be on the show today. And we will go from there. But look, guys, remember, we have a lot of tournaments coming up. The IKF Georgia Classic coming up January 2nd and 3rd in Columbus, Georgia. This weekend, we're in Sumter, South Carolina with Mr. Jerome Robinson. Next weekend, we're in Columbia, South Carolina for a PBSE Point Boxing Sparring Tournament. Guys, I tell you, a lot of fun. Remember, everything is under COVID-19 protocols. We are looking out for you. Trust me. We've had 415 fights so far since July, and we haven't had any incidents thus far because we are serious about our COVID-19 protocols. Yes, we realize that things are happening. We realize that it's out there, and we respect that. But we also respect the fact of our culture, who we have, the people that we're mostly dealing with, and the protocols help mitigate things that I think that are reducing the risk in our event. So I hope you will continue to be a part of it. Look, guys, that's all I have for you today. I want to thank you so much again for watching another edition of Johnny Davis Live. Be sure to wear those masks, wash those hands, and always forward march. This is Johnny Davis Live, and I'm checking out. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.